Good morning, everyone. So
Good morning, sir.
glad and happy to be with all of you on this exciting day that we look back. The church had purchased a piece of land. It was just outside the city limits, and it was what we call our campground. And of course, there was no tabernacle there, but they put up a large tent. And the first camp meeting 100 years ago, Sister Crawford preached the first sermon for the camp meeting that day. I remember Sister Crawford. Being 90 years old, I guess, has some benefits. As a little boy, my mom and my brother and I, we would spend the whole 3 weeks on the campground. And of course, the tabernacle was a lot different then than it is today. Oh, the roof and everything was there, but the sides of the tabernacle were just canvas. And when it was hot, they would pull them up and let the air flow through. Over the dirt floor in the tabernacle was sawdust, and around the altars was straw. And in those days, the ceiling was different than today. It was vaulted like, and over the platform, it said in big red letters clear from one side to the other side of the tabernacle, "Be ye reconciled to God." My first remembrance of Sister Crawford, I was about 3 years old, and I want to show you how loving and kind she was. She was very loving to our family. When my family moved to Portland, my mom wanted to come because she read about the church in the church papers. And when they got to Portland, it was hard times. They had no money. Sister Crawford did not know them, but she said, "Here, you just stay right here on the campground until you can get a job," which my dad did. Wasn't a good job, it was shaking prune trees. But that's the kind of love she was. But my first real remembrance of her, sitting with my mother, I was about 3 years old, and we were sitting on the second row. In those days, we sat on benches with backs. And as little boys play around the campground and everything, and I guess I was very tired. And sitting with my mother and Sister Crawford, I can see her as plain today as the day she got up. She got out of her seat, came up to the pulpit, and she said, "Will the sister next to Sister Phillips," which was my mom, "move over so her little boy can lay down?" I was that little boy. I mean, that's love, shows the love that, here, she saw a little boy that was tired and made room for him. I remember her funeral, and the cemetery was 7 miles from the campground. And so many people attended that when the first car got to the cemetery, the last car was just leaving the campground. The wonderful thing to me, Brother O, is if Sister Crawford was able to step onto our campgrounds at camp meeting, she would hear the same gospel being preached that she preached.
Amen. Amen.
100 years ago.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
they say in
Amen.
religious circles, I read that 50 years is the limit of a church. Most of them are gone, but if they're still around, what they do is they changed the doctrine, but down through 100 years, there have been those that'll say, we're going to stick to the old paths,
Amen.
and we will stick to the purity
Amen.
and the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
So what does that mean to you, Brother Earl? What does that mean to me? I'm 90 years old, and so my days are numbered. That I know. But that means the younger ones
Amen.
that are listening. Because from the outside, I've seen many people come and try to lead people away, and a lot of them have led many people away. But we have to say it in our hearts.
Amen.
To say, in the days to come, if Jesus tarries, and we don't know when he comes, and even if it was 50 years from now, we want them to say the same doctrine, the same gospel
That's right.
of Jesus Christ
That's right.
is being preached today. And I'll just touch on one thing. When she died, Brother Ray Crawford took over. What a wonderful, wonderful man. He was like his mother, very loving, very kind, touched my life, and I can say what a wonderful man he was. And down through my years, every overseer has said, I want to keep the gospel pure.
Amen.
Thank you, Brother Earl.
Amen.
Love everybody.
Amen.
And
sir.
have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday today celebrating 100 years.